Topic 5, linear inequalities. So we're graphing each linear inequality to show all possible solutions. So I have to remember I have to put this in slope-intercept form. So remember that's y equals mx plus b. And then I'm going to graph. A couple things to remember: if it's if you see a greater than, equal, or less than an equal sign, that line is going to be solid. Symbol, it's going to be solid. If you see just a less than or greater than, then the line that you create for your graph will be dotted. And then we'll talk about the shading when we get to it. Okay, so first of all, we're going to put this into the correct form. So I want my y on the left side. I'm going to keep my y there. And then I am going to subtract 2x from both sides. So, but I want my x in this position. So I'm going to put my negative 2x here, and I'm going to add 6. Okay. Now it's not quite done because I still have to get rid of my negative 3. So I am going to divide by negative 3. Both sides by negative 3. Okay, so something that's important with inequalities, and I put a tip up here. Notice that right now we've set this up so we're about to divide both sides by a negative number. Well, if I go back to my note here, it says flip the symbol if you multiply or divide by a negative. So if I go back here, this is kind of this in action. So negative 3 divided by negative 3, well, that cancels each other out. So I have y. But now my law says I have to flip a symbol, okay? Now I have negative 2 divided by negative 3. Well, I want to keep it in that form, that slope fraction form, if you think about it. But a negative divided by negative is still a positive, so it becomes positive 2/3 x. And then 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. So now I have the right form. So now I'm going to graph this and be really thoughtful about how I'm shading it. I do it with a pencil. Okay, so now I'm going to treat it just like a slope-intercept form, basically. So I know that my y-intercept is going to be negative 2. Okay, and then I have a slope that is 2/3 positive. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 1. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I have enough lines now, I think. So I am going to think, well, first of all, it is not, I don't see an equal sign. So this just means that y is greater than. So I already know I'm going to do a dotted line. Hopefully you can see that that's dotted. Now my last step is I have to figure out which side of this line is going to make it true. Well, if the y, right up here it says shade above, if I have a y that is greater than, and then below if it's less than. I could also do the origin test, but I think this is a pretty clear cut that y is greater than, so it's got to be all the y's up here. So I get to shade all of those values up there. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, so now let's see, look at my form. Let's see, I have x is greater than or equal to negative 3. Well, that's kind of a clear-cut one because it's kind of already in form. Yeah, if I just have an x value, just think about it this way, that's greater than or equal to negative 3. Well, all I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3. I'm going to draw my line. It's going to be solid, and that I'm going to shade because that's all it means is that any value x over here is greater than this. Okay. So here we go. Well, good thing these are already in the right form, so I don't have to do as much work. So I can just go ahead and graph them. So let's start with the first one here. So I have negative 2 going to be one of my intercepts. And then I have a slope of 3 over 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. Good. So, oh, you know how I messed up and I don't even have an eraser. If you're watching, this should be what? Hopefully you can tell me. Remember, there's no equal sign, so this should actually be dotted. Okay. So for those of you watching at home, realize I did make an error. Both of these should be dotted. Okay. So the second one, let's do the second one. So I have, my second one has a y-intercept of 3. I'm going to put my point right there. I have a negative 1 basically slope. So for this one, where am I right here? I'm going to go over 1, over 1, over 1, over 1, and so forth, right? This time I'm going to shade it. Make it dotted, okay? So here we go. So now I have to figure out which side of these lines to shade. So I like to do arrows here because I'm looking for the overlap now, which is the solution. So let's look back at this one. So it's sometimes helpful to number these. This one is inequality number 1. This is inequality number 2. So for this one, look at this one, y is less than. Okay, so if I think about y is less than for this one, and then for the second one, which is up here, y is greater than. So it's helpful you can do some arrows like this. So basically y is greater than is going to be over here for this one. And then for this one, y is less than, well, I'm going to go on this side. And I'm doing arrows because really what I'm trying to prove, right? And I could, in fact, do some shading if you wanted to do it this way. And then where they both overlap is right here. And I can put a big S for solution, if that helps. Okay, it could also have used the origin test, right? I could have picked 0, 0 and just plugged it in to see if that would make it true. Okay, that's all I have for today. Good luck.